Yeah, that's who I had thought would be those three guys. Kennington Smith had mentioned the possibility if he took a fourth guy, it might be, but I think that's three guys who, carried the torch for the Crimson Tide, Ryan, through the transition, and I think deserve. We'll look back at this moment in Bama's history that to me they were so key to the transition. That's right. No amount of money can buy my legacy. I mean, fell in love with him with that one, man. And the irony is, Ryan. I went back and there's a actually there was an old post on his I can't remember, one of his social media accounts. He had made a similar statement about legacy. So I think it's ingrained in him, and kudos to the parents raised him, and to all three of these guys. They really uh, uh, represented Alabama well through that transition. I think if they're as good as they were last year, or the last few years, I don't think they can be as bad as Nick Saban's worst defenses, um, which was only one or two early as he was transitioning. But I think that you go back and look at the two games that we lost, Ryan, and you know what was the scores? 20 something points in both of those. Um, and if we hold, I think opponents, I don't think we score under 20, 20 in a game this year. I think we go over that average. So um, I think that the last 2 years would be a good enough defense, but I hope it looks better, meaning no busted coverages. That's what frustrated me the last couple of years. It was that we always gave up one or two, Ryan. And let me say it this way. Can I say it this way, Ryan? If we can go through the season and not give up wide open touchdowns, just think through the last couple of years how many wide open touchdowns we've given up where guys were 10 yards behind our guys. And that would explain what one national title in 6 years. Yeah, I mean, you take any of that and bump it up. Do you know what we were last year? So I think we'll be better offensively this year than we were last year. And I think on third down, yeah, you have to be better. And that's where we had those busted coverages. I mean, it was almost like coach knew what to do, um, and they had to get themselves in a situation to do it. That makes sense. I mean, it was almost like you wanted to get to a third down at times in certain areas of the field because you knew what Saban's response with Golding and was going to be. And that's why you look at a guy like Sark who has such a uh, great game against Alabama. You look at Ewers, who everybody I think he's overrated. He has two good games, and they're both against Alabama. You go back and look at what they did offensively. A lot of times against lesser opponents, it wasn't as dominating looking as it did against Alabama. So yeah, I think Alabama defense needs to be on par with what it's been, maybe a little better, and I think our offense can pick up the slack. You know what? I hear people say stuff like that, Ryan. Shouldn't they be worse? Since they don't have the talent Alabama has, right? Right. So when they're playing their level of competition, they did well. And then when they played up, because that's what they did, they would play either their competition or up. They had to do well also to be number 6 with less talent against Power 5 teams or in their division. So it's sort of like when people make the argument about DeBoer. He did all of that winning at Sioux Falls. Well, he was playing with Sioux Falls talent against Sioux Falls talent, and he dominated. And so I look at it that way with Womack. Womack was in a lesser conference, and two things: either he was a superior coach to all of them, or he has a really good scheme and no function, and I'll take either one of them. Yeah. 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 And Ryan, you take and look at that. Lanning is out there, and I think Lanning is having an impact in the Pac-12. It's going now, but I think in his 2 years, he was forcing his brand of football on Pac-12, and that's what Saban. He came in here in a couple of years. He made you play his way, and you could not play him in his style. you know, and that is a misnomer uh, that he doesn't have a physical. I have a very physical running game. The young man that played running back for them came from Mississippi State, Ryan. And what do we know about Mississippi State's running backs? They are physical. They are guys that you like to have in the Alabama backfield uh, with the talent we had blocking. And the other thing, Ryan, is they run a lot of plays. They do take some plays, but they get so many yards because they at Washington he had so many long drives because one of the first things he said about the quarterback position wasn't just whether they could complete passes, but would they take what the defense gave them, Ryan? Would they take the dump off to get the first down to keep the drive going and keeping those plays going? That's one of his measurements that he looks at in his quarterbacks. And I think that you will see that also lead to more plays, which leads to more what? More running and a lot more on the ground yards than you anticipate when a quarterback throws for 50 yards. And once again, Ron, if you run, how many times did we go through? Just let that sink in. How many times we went out there and we ran 3 plays? Well, you didn't do what you need to on first down, so that dictated your playbook, and then you didn't get what you needed on second down. And third down was a pass. And so if you're driving the ball and keeping drives going, it gives you more diversity in your offense just by the sheer fact that you're able to keep drives going, and that sheer will keep. I mean, we'll have Milrow running the ball more, whether it be through call plays, uh, read option plays, or scrambles themselves. So I think he'll end the year with more carries than per game than he had last year. Yeah, it's not going to be long. Right. One of the questions I had, and I wonder if you thought about this. You know, who's going to be that guy that replaces Saban? You think about SEC media days. Kirby is just placed kind of in the winds, right? That's what everybody is kind of thrown the king. But who's going to own SEC media days? Uh, we don't have any of those personalities right now. Um, that step back, if he says it, it's national news. Whatever Saban said, everybody picked up. I don't think that Kirby has that effect or appeal yet. And you don't see we want Georgia. You still see we want Bama. And I think Kirby's going to have to dethrone Alabama, not just Nick Saban. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Ryan. Roll Tide.